You motherfucker, you! You only exist out here because of me! Your fucking warrant don't ever go over my fucking head again!
Even in 2026, the Mafia has continued to be involved in a broad spectrum of illegal activities. But the right question would be, does the Mafia still exist today? Traditional Mafia presence and activities have waned since the late 90s, but they still exist, though they keep a low profile. In certain industries such as gambling, drugs, restaurants, and bars, they maintain significant influence. Today's Mafia families and their businesses are far more brutal and calculated than the fictionalized versions depicted in shows like Tulsa King or Mobland. Gambino family. The Gambinos have long been the most powerful of all Mafia families. They've been in the headlines multiple times in recent years. The two major stories were the release of Gene Gotti and the murder of family street boss Frank Cali. Street boss has become the new title for the highest-ranking family member not behind bars. Gene Gotti is now 75 and back on the streets. The brother of John Gotti Sr., who went to prison for heroin trafficking 3 decades ago, Gene was released in September 2018. Immediately, rumors of a possible Mafia war began to swirl. Sure enough, on the 13th of March 2019, Frankie Boy Cali was shot to death. It appeared that the Gotti era had returned with a bang, but not quite. Cali was killed by a young man named Anthony Camello after an incident that had nothing to do with Mafia business. Domenico Little Dom Cephalou is the boss of the family at this time, but he's been semi-retired for the last several years. Meanwhile, Gene Gotti knows that with his last name, he will be under constant microscope with state and federal authorities. If he plans on seizing power, he hasn't made that known publicly. At the current time, it is unclear if anyone has been named the new street boss. The Gambinos are not even 50% of what they were in their golden days, but even what's left of them equals a Mafia family that's nowhere near extinction. They still have their hooks in local construction and various other industries, both blue-collar and information-age crimes. There is likely to be fierce competition for power among the Gambinos over the next couple of years. The Mafia rarely kills each other in today's society, but a battle for control over the country's top Mafia family could produce a street war. Whoever takes over the family, not everyone is going to be happy. Genovese family. With all the attention surrounding the Gambino family lately, the Genovese family is sure to capitalize. They are involved with low-hanging fruit like narcotics, but they also have a well-diversified stream of income. They have significant money invested in bookmaking, and a good number of their higher-level guys operate freely. What helps the Genovese family is that they tend to have more peaceful leadership changes than the other families. When the other families are spending time infighting, the Genovese continue to grow, staying under the radar as much as possible. With the Gambinos in turmoil, the Genovese family appears poised to become the top Mafia family in the country, a spot they've held before. Their current acting boss is Liborio Bellamo, a man who was around back during Chin's reign. Chin originally picked Bellamo as acting boss, but then Bellamo went to prison for a decade. He was released in 2008 and again took the spot back after acting boss Danny Leo went to prison. Bellomo and the Genovese are operating strongly in the shadows. Colombo family. The Colombo family is now turning a page after 4 decades with an imprisoned Carmine the Snake Persico as boss, or so it seemed. Longtime imprisoned boss Persico died in 2019 after pulling the strings for 30 years behind bars. In an expected but greedy move, Persico named his son Alphonse Alley Boy Persico acting boss. Alley Boy is serving a life sentence, so the decision only makes sense in that he was keeping the power within his family. Along with an acting boss in prison, they also have a street boss, Andrew Russo, known as Andy Mush. They still operate in factions, but at least they're not currently at war, something the Colombos know too well. The family has seen multiple internal conflicts over the decades, making any period of peace a welcome change. The Colombos remain smaller than some of the other families, but continue their operations in traditional rackets. Bonanno family. The Bonanno family currently is a bit larger than the Colombos, but only half the size of the Gambinos and Genovese. Their current boss is convicted murderer Michael Mancuso, who served 10 years for killing his own wife in 1984. He pleaded guilty to a mob-related murder in 2006 and got 15 years. He was released on the 12th of March 2019. The Bonannos have always benefited from a close relationship with the Gambinos, and that still exists today. Several Bonanno and Gambino members were charged with narcotics trafficking and loan sharking in an FBI sting in November 2017. It's not as often these days that two mafia families work so closely together. Mancuso has Joseph Camarano Jr. as his underboss, who was acquitted of racketeering and extortion charges in March 2019. The consigliere, John Porky Zancocchio, was acquitted in the same case. It's likely that the Bonannos are going to prosper since their upper echelon are all free men. With leadership on the streets rather than behind bars, they have more flexibility to conduct business and adapt to law enforcement pressure. Lucchese family. The Lucchese crime family was founded nearly a century ago and continues to operate today. They've had more than their fair share of setbacks, but survived because of their ability to operate mostly in the shadows. The Gambinos and Genovese families have traditionally drawn far more FBI attention over the years. Lately, however, the Lucchese are feeling the heat. More than 30 of their members and associates have been nabbed in federal stings since 2017. The boss is still Little Vic Amuso, who has been in prison since 1992. Amuso is now the longest reigning boss the family has had. The family has at least 7 crews with significant territory in Long Island, Manhattan, the Bronx, and New Jersey. Amuso has named Michael Big Mike DeSantis acting boss, and the underboss is Stephen Wonderboy Crea. Crea and his son Stephen Jr. run the Bronx faction. Amuso informed them in 2017 that DeSantis was their new boss, and if they didn't cooperate, they'd be killed. This kind of direct threat from an imprisoned boss shows that even behind bars, these leaders maintain iron control over their organizations. Despite the arrests and prosecutions, the Lucchese family continues to generate income through construction, garbage hauling, and the traditional rackets that have sustained them for decades. The reality of 2026. The activities of these families continue as we speak. They may not command the same fear and power they once did in their heyday, but they remain active, dangerous, and profitable. Federal and state law enforcement continue their pressure, but the Mafia has proven remarkably resilient. They adapt, they evolve, and they survive. The 5 families of New York remain the most powerful La Cosa Nostra organizations in America. Their influence extends beyond the city into New Jersey, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, and Florida. They have connections with other crime families across the country and international criminal organizations. The modern Mafia operates differently than it did in the days of John Gotti or Lucky Luciano. They keep lower profiles, avoid the media attention that brought down previous generations, and diversify their criminal enterprises to include white-collar crimes alongside traditional rackets. But make no mistake, they are still here, still operating, and still dangerous. The code of silence, the oath of loyalty, and the willingness to use violence when necessary remain central to their existence. As we continue to bring you more content like this, remember that organized crime is not just history. It's happening right now in cities across America. Therefore, watch my film on the story of 36 brutal murders by Anthony Casso, and then one betrayal put an end to everything.